with us Jerry Dyer, retired police chief of Fresno.
Hi, Sparkle. Thanks for having me on the show.
How are you today?
I'm doing good. Very, very busy time of year. About 90 days left till the election, and so I'm working really hard trying to do all the things that I need to do to make sure that I secure that victory in March.
So you're not really enjoying your retirement?
I have not yet. I haven't even gone out of town, to do anything, travel.
No.
But after March, I plan on doing that. But yeah, I've hit the ground running ever since I left as a police chief, and so and as you know, I spend every day in the gym every morning. That's how I start the day. But it's been a busy time for me.
And you're so approachable. I see you in the gym. You come in. I see people coming up to you, and I'm like, how is this man going to get his workout done? How is this man going to get his workout done? And you managed to get your workout done.
Well, I can't. You have to plan ahead, but I can't tell you how many good ideas or conversations I've had in the gym from people that live in neighborhoods that tell me what's important to them. And then some folks just want to take a picture. And then some people, when I was in the police chief mode, people wanted to tell me about issues in their neighborhood or advice on issues. So, but it's never really been a bother to me. I don't mind people coming up to me in the gym, and I know sometimes they think it's a burden, but it's not. I don't mind it all.
You handle it very well. I mean, that's what everybody wants, a mayor that's approachable.
Yeah. Well, my whole career, I spent 40 years in the police department, 40 years and 5 months to be exact, 18 as a police chief, and I was always very, very engaged in the community. I spent almost every weekend going to community events, mostly in the southern part of the city, but throughout Fresno, and I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoy being around people. For some people, you go to an event and it's a check the box.
Right.
For me, it's more I get energized. I get plugged in when I go and talk to people, learn about the things that are going on in their life and the city. But it's exciting, especially those events where there's, the young kids are around having time. We have a lot of events in Southwest Fresno and Southeast through what's called Bringing Broken Neighborhoods Back to Life. And those are geared towards attracting kids, face painting, bounce houses. Those are the things that excite me the most in those neighborhoods.
I think that was one of the times I first met you, actually, was at one of those events.
Yes.
I was there for fitness, and
That's right.
They were hula hooping, and you actually got in and started hula hooping with the kids. That was awesome.
I did. My back's never been the same, but I got roped into doing a competition, a hula hoop competition. And as you can imagine, I lost. And
you did really good.
But it was, I like doing that. I like people seeing me. Unfortunately, oftentimes people only get to see me when I was standing behind a podium announcing something that probably a tragedy or a gang operation. But they never really got to see me in sometimes in a different light, away from that environment, being in the neighborhoods. Obviously, for the people that were in the neighborhoods, they got to see me in a different light. But by and large, folks know me from what they saw on television.
And you started many programs as a police chief. Which ones do you continue to follow with?
Well, the creation of our chaplaincy program, or at least the expansion of it. We have over 100 chaplains in our department, and they're well beyond just ministering to the needs of our officers. They're the ones that are out in the community. We have a resiliency program. They're in about half of our elementary schools now, teaching a program called Resilience in Student Education, helping young kids overcome perhaps some of the hard times that they face within their home, the challenges they face, so that they're more responsive to learning. A lot of these kids come to school with a sense of anger and distrust, based on what they see in their home. And I'm proud of the fact that our chaplains are involved in that, as well as for our teenagers that are going through difficult times. We have a counseling center set up through our chaplaincy program. A lot of people aren't aware of that. But that's one of the things. Certainly I'm proud of a lot of the technological advances we did in the department with our real-time crime center, our helicopter program, the development of the regional training center, to train our officers so that they respond appropriately when they're facing a a critical incident. So a lot of things I'm very, very proud of. I think the most that I'm proud of, though, is our community engagement. The fact that our officers are out there engaged in the community, which is vital in today's policing era.
How do you plan to bring some of that as a mayor running this town like you ran the police?
Well, I'm gonna stay actively engaged in the community. I not only did I have a chiefs advisory board made up of different folks from throughout the community, different faiths, different cultures and ethnic backgrounds. I'm going to continue to do that as a mayor. I'm going to create one, or at least one, maybe two, involving a number of folks in our community, and also our youth. A lot of folks don't know, but I had what's called youth forums, and I would go out on a consistent basis to the high schools. We would bring high school and sometimes middle-aged students into the high schools during the evening, feed them pizza, and I got to interact with those kids for 2 or 3 hours, listening to some of the concerns they faced and some of the things that they would like to see from us. I plan on doing the same thing as the mayor. Again, getting that engagement with the community is important.
That's wonderful. Downtown, I know every mayor that's come in, they're like, let's revive downtown. Let's revive downtown. Is that a big concern of yours? And how important is it to revive downtown?
Well, downtown is critical to the well-being of our city. When you look at every major city in the country, they have a vibrant downtown. And I'm sad to say over the years, it's been somewhat embarrassing for our downtown.
Right.
And there was a time in our city, long before my time, when our downtown Fresno was vibrant. But it is coming back. You have the brewery district now downtown by the stadium. Some nights there's thousands of people that come down there to the brewery district with live bands playing. We have the cultural arts district and the residents that are now living there. In fact, I'm doing a fundraiser tonight downtown
nice.
Fresno.
That's right.
And so it is coming back. I think a lot of the groundwork's been done. Opening up a Fulton Mall was huge for us. But what we have to do in city government is to make sure that we're rolling out the red carpet to those businesses that want to come downtown, whether that's a restaurant, nightclub, any entertainment venue. We have to roll out the red carpet for those individuals. And unfortunately, sometimes businesses feel that maybe we roll out the red tape. But it's got to be the red carpet, especially downtown, and offer incentives for folks to come down there, because there is a certain amount of risk. And the city of Fresno has to share that risk with them in bringing business downtown.
Well, I think two concerns are the taxpayer money that would go into that, and the
Yes.
second concern would be the homeless population.
Right.
How are you going to tackle that?
Well, number one, there's a lot of federal dollars that are available through what's called opportunity zones for people to be able to invest from ground up structures and to avoid capital gains. So there are monies that you can bring in from the state and the federal government to assist, or grants that are strictly for that purpose, to assist businesses, startup businesses, etc. The homeless issue is number one in Fresno. I don't care if it's on the north end, south end. I hear about the homeless all the time. And unfortunately, last year in our city, the homeless population increased about 17%. So although we're doing a lot of things to address homelessness, we're obviously not doing the right things. And I have a plan that's going to allow for us to create navigation centers in Fresno. I spent about 2.5 hours today at the rescue mission and around that area of the Poverello House, not only looking at it, but getting ideas as to how we can address it. And I think Fresno truly has the potential to be a model city when it comes to addressing homelessness. But we have to have navigation centers, and that is where people are brought into a centralized location where they can have services brought to them, whether that's alcohol, drug abuse, counseling, as well as mental health services. There's really 5 things that drive homelessness in our city. 1 is the addiction to alcohol. 2 is addiction to drugs. 3 is mental health. 4 is abandoned veterans who
Right.
oftentimes feel abandoned, left alone, and they suffer from mental health issues or substance abuse. And then the last one is families who are displaced as a result of oftentimes domestic violence or something else in the home. So we have to divide those navigation centers to meet the needs of each one of those folks, and to be able to centralize services, bring them back, and then navigate them out the back end after about 3 to 4 months into transitional housing. It requires a master plan, coordinated efforts with the city and the county, taking advantage of every dollar that we have locally, nonprofits, churches, in being able to truly remove these individuals from the environment which is unhealthy and inhumane.
Well, there's a program called Sherry's Arc, and I've actually had the representative on this show. She's from Los Angeles, and she's creating a transitional housing for homeless vets. And she'd been trying to get housing here in Fresno for a while. She was able to get it in Madera first, but she also would like to open one up in Fresno. So that's something that you guys are looking to expand?
Well, any affordable housing that people can open or bring to Fresno, we need.
Okay.
Because
she'll be happy to hear that.
Affordable housing is something that is critical. You know, when you look in our today, about 20% of the people in our community pay over half of their salary on rent, and so we have to have affordable housing. But number one, we got to get these individuals off the street into an environment where they can get services, transition them out into that transitional housing. And then get them the job skills and the job placement so that they can be productive again. Takes a lot of work to do that, but I'm confident we can do it.
Speaking of which, our unemployment rate is up. It's almost half of what, above of what most unemployment is
Sure.
around town at 5.9%, I think, right now.
I think the city of Fresno, last I checked, we were at 4.8. Now, that's the city. I don't know about the county.
Okay.
So countywide, it's probably higher. I know it's higher.
Yeah, probably.
So in the city of Fresno, I believe we're at 4.8%. There are things that have to occur in order for unemployment rates to drop in a city. One is, the vast majority of the people that work in the business world, that's where people get employed. But the other thing is, when you bring in the Amazons and the Ultas, the Gap, those corporations employ a lot of people. And there's a debate as to whether or not they're good for a city or bad for a city. I personally think they're great for a city. When you bring Amazon into your community, you get placed on a map, and you become a magnet for other corporations across America to look at your city. And so we have Amazon, and the number of jobs that they provide starting at $15 an hour. But after a couple of years, you could be up to $18, $19, $20 an hour. They'll pay for your education. And that education is intended to get you into another type of employment that pays even more. So continuing to focus on those types of corporations is critical. We have to, unfortunately, incentivize those people to come to us, which is the debate, whether or not we should do that. But we also have to be very, very business-friendly in Fresno in the sense, not just friendly, but expedite the permitting process and the planning review for business. And when that happens, that's when you create jobs. And unfortunately in Fresno, we have a lot of people that are not employed simply because they don't have the skill set to be involved in the employment opportunities that we have. And part of that is like construction, truck drivers. We can't get enough people to qualify to drive trucks in the transportation industry, and we can't get enough people to get qualified to work in the construction industry, especially specialty skills like electrical work. So apprenticeship programs, those are critical for people to get the skill set they need.
So what should people do to go about just get into the apprenticeship programs?
Well, there's different ways you can do it. Certainly the apprenticeship program that we have locally is for the union workers. They also have another one at the state level through what's called ABC. That's the organization. But anyone that's interested, they can go on the website and certainly look and see what's available. But having those job skills provided to someone over a several year period and getting those people out into the workforce, into a career that pays a lot of money. And I don't see the construction industry slowing down. And in terms of transportation, that is our bread and butter because we are centrally located in California.
Right. And as a police chief, I'm sure, you've seen all these rehabilitation programs that they have within the incarceration systems. But when a lot of them get released, they have felonies on their records and
Yes.
may not qualify for a lot of these jobs. What should they do? And I know that's part of the problem of why they end up back in there because
Sure.
they can't get the job. What is the solution to that problem?
Well, two things. Sometimes employers don't want to take a risk on people that have a criminal history. Other employers thrive on it because they feel that when they give someone a second chance or third chance, that they become their best employees. That's what I hear most often. But what I do know is that more and more people today are trying to hire those people that have a criminal history. And in fact, there's certain contracts that are written in there that a certain percentage of those individuals have to be not only from a local community, but have a criminal record. Because we know that if you can get these individuals employed away from drugs, then they can become productive. But it takes a lot of work, and they need the training, and they need someone to believe in them. But I am one of those people that happen to believe in them. Absent that, they're going to be out on our streets or committing crimes.
So you'd be willing to employ someone like that?
Yeah, in fact, I actually did in the police department.
Really?
We're limited on our police officers, but I ended up hiring a guy with a felony conviction for some community outreach. None better. In fact, we were paying money to a number of organizations who were hiring people with criminal histories, because who better else to reach those individuals in that lifestyle, the gang lifestyle,
Right.
than a former gang member or a person that is been involved in criminal activity. I'm a firm believer in that. People can change their life. They deserve a second chance, and those individuals can become productive citizens. Now, there's going to be times when people disappoint, right, in all of our lives, but we still have to take a chance on those people.
That's great. And what are you going to do for your police staff now that once you become mayor? Do they say, "Hey, are you going to do this first? Are you going to do that?" What's the?
Well, when I was a police chief, I took care of the police department, and the folks that worked for me, those were my folks that I took care of. As a mayor, you have 3,500, 3,600 employees underneath you, and you have to look at all of those needs within each of the departments. Take, for example, the fire department. They right now have about half the staffing level of the statewide average. And so they are operating at where they were 30 plus years ago in terms of staffing. The police department has fewer officers today than we did 10 years ago. And
Why is that?
It's because of the recession, the effect that we had starting
So you had to
in
cut back.
2008. The police department alone lost 260 civilian employees and about 160 police officers. Some of those have been hired back, but for the most part, still short. You look at some of our neighborhoods that are dilapidated, neighborhoods that have been left behind. There has to be a lot of restoration there in streets and curbs. And then our parks. Unfortunately, our park system in Fresno, we have to do something with it. And I know the tax word is not something that's very popular. And I'm not a tax guy myself. I believe we pay too much in federal and state tax. But we are going to, at some point, have to seriously look at, as a community, whether or not the people would be willing to pay a little more to get better services, better parks, better public safety.
Oh, that's great. What was, when you were chief of police, did you wish a mayor had done for the department that you could see yourself doing? Like, if we had worked this, because now you could be working both sides, essentially.
Well, one thing, I worked for 3 mayors and 5 city managers in my 18 years as the chief. Each mayor was uniquely different, had different styles. Alan Autry was the one who had a style that, although maybe he wasn't at City Hall as often as people would have liked, this guy was out in the community. He was engaged at the state and national level. He had a huge voice. We talked frequently about public safety needs, and that's what a mayor has to do, is be aware of the needs in the departments. Ashley Swearingen, she was a visionary. She was someone who generated a lot of excitement, was responsible for opening up the Fulton Mall, using federal tax dollars to do that, much of it. And so she had a style that was very good as well. And then Lee Brand's one of those guys who's very analytical, well thought out. He is somebody that is a consensus builder, gets people on the team. So for me, it would be a combination of those three personalities, and most of all being very much in tune with what the needs are of the departments and what the needs are of the communities in each and every one of the neighborhoods, and balancing those needs with what we're able to deliver in terms of, the biggest challenge I think as a police chief and as a mayor is, here's the expectations of a community and what they want, and here's the reality of what you can deliver based on the monies you have available. So somehow, some way, we got to figure out a way to bridge that gap between the two, and that's my challenge as a mayor.
That's a big order.
Nothing short of a miracle. No, I'm really up for the challenge. I look forward to it. I'm very, very confident of, based on the experience I've had in the department. I've managed a department over 1,100 employees, $200 million budget. I've dealt with the personnel issues and litigation issues, unfortunately. So I have that experience. I've dealt much with the media, not only the local media, but the national media. I've tried to be that voice of calm over the years in times of crisis. I've been that person that's been in the hospital at 3 a.m, when a 5 or 6-year-old has been shot, and been with the parents and praying with them. So, I'm going to continue to be that person who cares an incredible amount for the people in Fresno. I may no longer wear the uniform, but I still carry the burden of this city.
What are your thoughts on the last mass shooting that we had?
Well, anytime you have a tragedy where you have people that have been injured or killed, like we had with the Southeast Asian shooting, it creates not just pain and fear and hurt and suffering for the families, but it does that same thing for the whole community. It creates a fear, a panic in some cases, where people think, am I next? And whenever you have fear in a community like that, it can create really a paralysis where people are afraid to go to nightclubs. People are afraid to go to restaurants, afraid to go to football games, afraid to go to any parties. And when that happens, you lose your sense of community. And so what has to happen is not only do we go in there as a city and a police department and solve those cases very, very quickly, but we restore calm in that neighborhood and within the community. And that's what I mean. You have to have a voice of calm, somebody that's willing to step forward and say, not only this is what occurred, what we're doing about it, and why it's not going to happen again.
Are you working with the new police chief in doing all these things since you have all this experience? Do you guys call each other up and be like, how does it work? I'm really curious, and I'm sure people are too.
But there's a balance.
Okay.
And here's what I try to do. I make myself available to the new police chief if he needs advice on how to do something, disciplinary actions, whatever. I'm very careful, though, not to overstep my bounds and call him and say, hey, I think you should do this.
Which has got to be hard to do sometimes.
It is, because, because everybody has a different style. And so the main thing is I want this community to have the best leadership in every one of the departments, police department, fire department, planning, development, throughout. That's important. Leadership is critical in a city. And but I think so far, what we've seen in the police department is, although there's always going to be some challenges with the transition, especially when I served that department for 18 years as the chief. That in many cases, 75% of the officers, that I was the only chief they knew.
Right.
And so for that can be scary in and of itself. But I think the transition is going pretty well. And there's going to be another transition because he's only going to be the police chief till at most March of 2021. And so there'll be another transition at that point with the selection of a new police chief.
So if you were mayor and, 20 years from now, what would you want people to say? Because you kind of went over the last three mayors. What would you want people to say Jerry was best known for?
I want people to remember me by how much I cared for this community. I gave my heart and soul and was a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week police chief. Seldom did I go out of town. Seldom did I ever take a vacation. If I did, it was for maybe 3 or 4 days. I was out in the neighborhoods at 3 in the morning when we had incidents. I was at the hospital. I just want people to remember me by the fact that I was a compassionate police chief and that I cared about people and that I love this city. And the other things that, things that we've done in terms of crime reduction and gang strategies and, those things will come and go and fade as time goes on in terms of our successes. But what won't fade is the impact that I've been able to have in the lives of people, not only in our community, but within the department.
Well said. Well, before I let you go, I just want to say, we don't really give our views on what, we believe. But, I've known you for a little bit. I've seen how you interact. And I always think of the worst case scenario now that we live in a post 9/11 era. And I'm thinking, we have a crisis situation, a hostage situation. Who do I want on my side? And I feel like you're the man for the job. And I really hope you win.
Thank you, Sparkle. I appreciate that. And I'll continue to be that voice of calm for our city. In time of crisis.
Thanks for coming on our show.
You bet. Thank you.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Welcome back. With us is Alicia Nielsen, returning after. So last time you came, you did my makeup. Then we did a photo shoot.
Yes.
Then you did great photos. I mean, people say don't look like me, so that's a compliment to you. And somehow,
it's a different aspect of you. That's what it is.
There we go. And that was really good. And I was super impressed. I took it with no expectations.
Yeah.
Not to sound bad, but Fresno. I'm from LA, so it's just like I'm like, oh, Fresno photographers. And then so I just had you taken because you're my friend, and oh my gosh, they were the best pictures I've ever had. Even better than my LA photographers. So go, Alicia.
Thank you.
So oh my gosh, and you just kind of started doing photography because you've been doing hair and makeup forever.
Yeah, for a really long time, basically since high school. Yeah, but the photography's only been about, I don't know, like 6 years or something like that. Oh, there you are.
So what makes you so great is that the lighting, the fact you do the hair and the makeup. And do you do that for everyone, or was that just me, the hair and makeup?
I do hair and makeup for most of my clients, just because it's easy and they're there. And it's really a good time to get to know them. Like when I'm doing their hair and makeup, it's a chance for us to sort of like talk and talk about
that's
family.
The most intimate time.
It is, right? You really kind of get to know a person. And so I think they end up feeling more comfortable with me as a result.
You did such a good job, Alicia. I love it. Oh
now,
my
have
gosh,
you seen
I love
these?
that. I haven't seen that photo. I'm digging it. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Isn't it so pretty? You look
Yes.
so pretty. Oh my goodness.
You just need to do it every day. My hair.
I was definitely wanting like a really soft, sophisticated look. And I think these are gorgeous. I think they look like you belong in a magazine.
Oh, I appreciate that. And everybody, all the other ones I've seen, you should have had more than just me here because I've seen you do a lot of amazing things
Thank you.
For people. And what's your main focus? What photography do you usually do? Like for who?
I do mostly photograph women, whether it's headshots or just really gorgeous pictures to give to their husbands as a present. I do mostly women. But this right now, of course, because it's Christmas time, I'm getting a lot of families right now. So this is sort of like a family season for me, but that's good too. I like families as well.
What about headshots? Because one of my guy friends last night just asked me, is Alicia got headshots? And I said, well, she's really good at all the women I've seen, but I know I didn't see a lot of men on your wall. So are you
I
Do you feel just as confident?
Yeah, I do headshots for men as well.
Do you put their makeup on though?
No.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I need to do though. You're right. I need to get into that.
Well, yeah, because I mean they need makeup more than we do.
No, they don't.
Sometimes. Okay, so you're gonna get into like doing the man makeup.
Like I even did my accountant's office recently, and so I did headshots for everybody in the office, as well as like group photos of the office. I did pictures of the staff around the office.
Wow. So
that was a lot of fun, and there were obviously men there as well.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun, and I would be happy to do more of that. Just more pictures of people like in their work environments. We could do environmental portraits, and maybe action shots where it's like it looks like they're working, but maybe staged. So it's like, a little more control of the situation.
I wish we had a before picture right before you did my makeup, because I had the worst bags under my eyes before, and you even said something.
Well, we all get them, especially like depending on the lighting, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't know, I think I heard a long time ago, maybe I'm totally wrong, but we'll get like dark circles due to allergies, and like I feel like we're like the allergy capital of the world.
So you're really good with highlighting that.
Get dark circles under our eyes. Yeah, I mean, I don't like dark circles or
but
bags
is
under my eyes.
That a practice? So. Because sometimes, you look great makeup-wise here, and then you take the photos, and it's like all no way. So
Definitely.
it's like you really made your makeup match the photos. So how do you do that? Did you know then and there too? Because you put a lot of makeup on that kind of makeup.
Yeah,
it looks super natural on there. So that's one of your talents, is matching it.
Well, I think it's kind of neat, because I think being a photographer has changed the way I do makeup. You know what I mean?
Really? Okay.
I know what I'm going to be fixing in Photoshop otherwise, right?
Nice.
So I try to
I never thought of it like that.
I try to think like start to finish, okay, what's going to work out for the final product, and also what's going to save me time, so if I do the makeup a certain way, it's going to save me time in retouching later. Although your skin is so beautiful, like there was...
Oh, thanks, girl.
Like the retouching was not a lot.
Just the bags, other than that.
Well, and I think with the lighting and everything too, lighting makes a big difference as far as under eye circles and things like that.
Well, that was just sleep deprivation, but
you were really tired that day, weren't you?
Yeah, that's when I was doing boot camp. So
yeah, but she was such a good sport, and she let me like take pictures even though she was absolutely exhausted, and we had a good time hanging out and talking.
Yeah, it's a great time. What a good job.
It's fun because it's kind of like a girls' night out too. So many times we think, oh, there's nothing to do in Fresno, Well, you could come get your picture taken.
Well, another good thing, gifts. So you do like gift certificates and gift cards that people want to get it for someone?
I haven't done gift certificates yet, but I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. Yeah.
And it's 140 typically starting for a session.
The session, yeah. And then if you're looking at about 5 retouched images, that's $350 for 5 retouched images. And I'll do individual prints, that are framed, like not framed, but matted and in a box, or books. Books are really popular. A lot of people just end up wanting a book with their pictures in it.
So what's your favorite to do? Is it the weddings or is it the one-on-ones? I like the one where my head's
I
love how you're debuting this in front of me.
Surprised you a little bit. I like one-on-one a lot just because I think I'm more of a one-on-one kind of a person. You know what I mean? I think I'm more of an introvert, so I do like just that kind of environment. I can get a little overwhelmed with a ton of people around, so I think I really enjoy.
Well, the Christmas photos must be crazy because people get the dog in there and the baby that nobody's smelling at the same time. Is that a challenge?
It's really hard. Like little kids are really hard, but they eventually, like with enough time and patience, they come around, and then before you like learn what it takes to get them to pay attention and smile. And of course, mom and dad, they know their kids, so they know what it takes to get their kid to pay attention. But it is harder, Whereas like with grown women, it's kind of a slower pace, really, because you can try this and then try this and then try this. You know what I mean? And they can keep tweaking it until it's perfect. So if I like enter into a competition, it's going to generally be a grown up because I was able to fine tune that picture so that I felt comfortable sending it into competition, because I try to enter competitions here and there.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's the biggest challenge of being a photographer? Is it the lighting? Because I notice your pictures are really, is that what makes it better than other photos I've seen?
I do love lighting. I love controlling the lighting. So I don't do a lot of pictures outside because elements just affect, you know what I mean? Like you might like the background outside, but then the sun's in the wrong place. You know what I mean? And you can't move the sun, and you can't move your background very well. So you have to, I don't know, kind of like pick a different background that maybe you don't like as much, you know? So there are things outside that you can't change. You can bring lights outside, which is great, but then you're carrying lights around outside. You know, I don't know. In the studio, it is a lot more convenient.
And you have the control.
Yeah, and there's just more control. It's kind of like when you're just used to working in your environment. It's just easier. It's quicker. You know your space. You know your lights. You know your settings. You know, and outside, when you go outside, there's just so many more variables. But I would like to get more into some outdoor photography, because I know we have some really cool locations, and it would be fun. It would be fun to like try to create something dramatic and different, that try to see a part of town in a way that maybe nobody else has seen it, and photograph it in a way that nobody's photographed it.
I wish you would have brought those pictures of your kids with the circus and all that.
I do love like really kind of crazy creative pictures with my kids and stuff. You know, we have one that looks like they're kind of like spy kids, you know, and
so your kids are props, little model props for you.
Yeah. I've done a Stranger Things photo shoot with my daughter because she looks like Millie Bobby Brown, and
can she come on? By the way, put that homeschool shyness.
I know, right? Yeah.
Come on, and say hi.
She looks like a yeah. You want to come over?
She's just so cute because you guys look so much alike. It's like mother and daughter.
This is my daughter. This is Emma.
So how old are you, Emma?
I'm 12.
And so, are you going to take after the family business?
Maybe.
I got to see how good that picture you. Is it fun though, the lights? You help out on a lot of that?
Yeah, sometimes.
She actually does like really, really good photos for weddings. So she'll be doing a lot of photojournalistic stuff, and she's capturing things from a different angle than, say, when her dad's like the lead photographer, she's like somewhere else, and she ends up with these amazing angles and coming up with these like really precious moments during the wedding.
Do you ever put your input in? Well, if you did this will be better. Do you ever get to do anything like that?
Not really, but yeah, sometimes we'll get ideas for photographing like the wedding rings or like the bride's shoes and so that sort of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Go, Emma. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's gonna either way, she doesn't have to become a professional photographer if she doesn't want to, but we kind of figured we might as well teach her the things that we know. You know, if these are skills we have, we do want to pass it on to our kids, and they can do with it what they want, you know. So I've got my kids learning how to use Photoshop, and next will be hair. She's going to learn how to do hair next.
Nice. The hair and makeup, is that included in the 140 or is that separate? Okay,
that's
so how much
separate
is
fee.
that?
When I do hair and makeup for a photo shoot, I charge $75,
And
that's
for both,
that's less than I charge for an event, because I'm not like, the makeup really only has to last during the time of the photo shoot. So event makeup is longer because there's more skin prepping and things like that, and so it ends up costing a little bit more. But for just a photo shoot, it's usually about $75 for hair and makeup.
So have you ever done like a whole bridal party where you do the bride, the bridesmaids, and everybody?
I do that not very often. I kind of got out of that for a while, and I'm just now getting back into doing hair and makeup for weddings. I generally don't like the pressure of all of that on me, like for such a short amount of time. So I'll bring a team of women with me.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. I've got a lot of friends in the business, and
Right.
I've got people that I love to work with, and we end up having a blast.
So
together.
the mix salon, everyone's got to go to the mix salon. It's far away. Well, for
It's
me,
far
but
away.
it was worth it. I've gone there a few times. I love it. I feel like I'm in a different,
I know.
environment because it's so pretty in there. You have different pictures. You have it's like the environment's it's an ambiance.
I wanted a place that I wanted to work at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you have to be stuck there all day, so you might as well have pretty things.
Yeah, and I took all the elements of places I've been, like my favorite parts of each of the places that I've been in, and I tried putting them into my salon so that I just have the best of everything.
I feel relaxed in a home. Like I said, it's worth the commute of, where is it again? West End
Bullard and Marks,
Bullard
the
and
southeast corner. And the girls that work there, oh my goodness, they're absolute gems.
Oh, they were fun. I love those
them.
girls. It's a great environment.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I love the hair and makeup. And so hair, really quickly, how much does it cost for
Well, a haircut's $55. A root touch-up and a haircut for me, is $105. And most like highlights with a cut is about $130. But if you want something like that's going to take longer, be more extensive, the price does go up. And it mostly is based on like how complicated of a process it is, how much time is it going to take,
You have to
how
book
much
you way in
product.
advance, right?
Yeah, a lot of people are trying to get it right now. And it's like I'm cramming them in there, you know, like I know Christmas is coming and everybody wants in. And so I do have a few spots open still, but I do prefer people to either like book like on the spot, like when I'm done with their appointment, book for the next appointment, like a month in advance. But yeah, every now and then I will have, like, I am squeezing people in last minute.
So the man that wants the headshots, should he call you now to book for a month later? Or is that the idea?
That would be awesome, actually. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay,
So a
well,
month
she
in
does
advance would be
headshots and
wonderful.
everything. And next time when you come on, the third time you come on the show,
know.
bring the ambiance photos of the circus. And that was fun. But,
Like all my really crazy creative ones. Yeah, those are
but
really
I like
fun.
looking at me too at work. So.
You look gorgeous. Yeah. It's a fun way to kind of show them to you.
I know this is me singing for the first time. As my mom's like, you didn't approve them.
She didn't. I picked all of them.
Nice. Thanks so much for coming in, Alicia.
Thank you so much, Sparkle.
For change, but it never came, baby. Wait, I think that I've seen your face somewhere all over. Did, baby, you were never there, darling. I was there at the call of my name. You were never there, darling, and maybe that's why I don't remember your name anymore. Remember your name anymore. Don't.
Welcome back to the Everything Sparkle Show. Before I forget, it is Jennifer Williams Kistler's birthday. She's one of my closest friends. I want to say happy birthday, Jen. I'm not going to say how old you are, but you're very young. So, Davita, I love your name.
Thank you. It's very unique.
So you wanted to tell a story behind that? If you don't want to, it's fine, because I hate when people ask me.
So my name, Davita, came from, I'm named after my dad, which his name's David, because I have 5 older brothers, and I'm the only girl, so, and the youngest, so, you know, he's wanting that daughter, and so he always said he would name her, from what my mom told me, he would name her after him, so.
That makes so much sense. I don't know why more Davids don't do that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So explain to us what you look very beautiful and stylish.
Thank
Everyone thinks
you.
you're going to talk about style, but that's not what you're here to
You know
talk
what?
about.
I do love talking about style, though. Makeup, shoes.
But you're going
purses.
to talk to us about money?
I'm going to talk about mortgage loans, and I've actually been in the mortgage business about 8 years. I started off actually assisting loan officers, and then I started processing loans, and then just working different aspects of loans. And I decided I wanted more one-on-one with the clients. I never got to meet the clients. I was basically a paper pusher.
Behind
Behind the
the
scenes,
scenes, yeah.
nobody got to see who I was. And so I decided I needed more. And so I became a loan officer, and I absolutely love it. I love working with people. I love helping them make the biggest decision of their life. I mean, the biggest investment you're going to do in your life is to purchase a home. And it's actually not the price of the home, it's the loan. It's what the loan officer is going to show you, different loan programs that'll work for you. There's many loans out there. And my job is to find that perfect loan for that client. Everybody has, different lifestyles. Some are looking for mansions, and some are just starting off on their first home. And that's like an FHA loan is what I would put them in. And there are people veterans love doing VA loans. With the VA loans, there's closing costs are pretty much covered for you. There's your VA allowables and non-allowables fees. So that's one of the loan programs I love to do. Conventional loans. Conventional loans are for people who have a good down payment, 20% to put down, or they've sold a home, they had quite a bit of equity, so they have that money to put down. So that's for somebody that that I would recommend to do a conventional loan who, again, sold a property, took that equity, put it into another property, and yeah, so.
So, what if people don't qualify? Is that like a big problem, or do you usually find something for everybody?
So there are people that do not qualify, but that's when I take the time and I guide them and I educate them and I tell them what debts they need to work on. I have the tools to show them. We have this tool that us mortgage lenders use. It's called the What If Simulator, and we could just go ahead and put that in on the computer, sit in front of your client, go through all of their debts, tell them what they need to pay off, and then if they follow your instructions and they do what you tell them to do, most of the time their credit score increases.
But that takes a lot of time, right? And
It
then
takes a
that's
lot of time, but you know what?
No, but this could be years, I'm saying, before they are able to qualify, correct?
Sometimes a
Okay.
year, sometimes
Okay,
2
so usually
years.
you're always trying to, like, make it as...
Right, but they need to be educated. So the first thing they need to do is come and see me. It doesn't cost them anything to come and sit with me.
That's good, that's
And
good.
I can help them with their, buying their first home. I can show them what their debt to ratios is, meaning what your ratios need to be to qualify.
Right.
And again, I love talking finances. I grew up with my mom ran a strict household financially, with all of us kids. And she always used to say, and it always stuck with me, she would always say, baby girl, it's not what you make, it's what you save. So for me, saving money was always very important to me.
And that's very true.
Yeah,
That's a really good motto.
yeah.
I like that.
So, I would take that in effect when I'm sitting there with my client, because if they come to me and say, well, I've been pre-qualified and I was told I qualify for this amount, and I'm looking at the ratios, and me, finance is my thing. I look at it and I said, I don't want you to be house poor. Let's look at something a little less expensive. Let's look at this house payment, and it's up to you to go from there. And that's just part of me, as I was a single mom. And I had a mortgage and I had bills to pay. So I had to be very, very thrifty, raising my son and all. Now I have him off in college. And,
you look so young, girl.
and yeah, and he's paying for his college. And so I had to be very
Nice, okay.
frugal, with my money. So again, I treat every customer until they become my client. It's as if they're a family member to me. Like, I take it very seriously on what loan I'm going to put them in, and I love to educate them. So
My biggest concern with that, because pretty much you can find something for anybody for the most part, right? So my biggest concern would be the interest rate just being super, super high for some of those people that really are very on the low end of qualifying. What do you do in terms of helping them reduce that?
So that's when I sit with them and I tell them what debts they need to pay off to increase their credit score. A 700 credit score versus a 720, you're in a different interest rate.
Wow. Just that little bit.
It is 20 points. If they are, a 718 and I really need to get them that 720 because it's going to make a difference in rate, I'll recommend to them what they have to pay off to get them there. But yeah, rate is not actually everything at all times. It's the whole cost of the loan. It's your closing cost. Right. Another thing I love to do is refis. A lot of times people come in and they go, I want a lower interest rate, or I want to do a cash out. Not all the time do I get to lower the rate. I pay off, I look at their debts, and I'm like, look, if you go ahead and pay this credit card, this credit card, this credit card, this is how much you can save, a month. I recently just did a refi. I saved this person $700 a month.
Wow.
So then I actually said to them, what are you going to do now with that $700? Obviously, it's up to you. But if you apply that $700 into your principal every month and just add it, you're going to knock off so many years off your loan. So I will do an amortization for them to show them what they're going to be saving, how many years they're going to cut off their loan, and how much interest they're going to be knocking. So there's a lot of benefits of refinancing as well.
Okay, so what if I come to you tomorrow and I'm like, I want to buy a house, this and that, and you're like, you got to knock all this off. We're looking at 2 years, and then at that point, do I call you every couple months? And how are you making money off helping me when I can't even get a house yet?
At that time, I'm not actually thinking about making money. I'm actually thinking of you coming
You
back
got to think
to
of
me.
your time, girl.
No,
Okay.
this is how it is. So if I can give you the best customer service, and I sat with you and I took time to help you, to guide you, educate you on what you need to do to get yourself to qualify, I'm not going to leave your mind. You're going to come back to me and you're going to say, look, I am ready now. I paid off these credit cards. I got my income tax money. I'm going to apply it on this debt. I'm good to go. Can we pull my credit now? It happens for me all the time. I do people's credit a year, and a year ago they come back to me and I'm doing their loan because they did everything that I asked them to do, and they were really serious. The serious buyers will do that for you. They will take it into account that if I want to buy a home, I need to make these changes.
But do they call you for everything? So, like, if I was going to do that and I'm doing all the things you say and then I want to open up a credit card, do I call you and be like, hey, Davita, can I open this up
I
now?
do get phone calls during the time I'm actually doing the loan. Can I open up
Right.
a credit card? First things first, I tell them when I sit with them, when I'm pre-qualifying them, you do not purchase a car. you do not open up
Okay,
a
so
credit
that's
card.
part of the
Do not
listening.
buy a refrigerator for your home that
So
you're
there's
planning
nothing.
on buying.
Okay, so
you just
okay.
don't buy
Just gotta be really
anything
sure.
until
Okay.
that loan closes. I don't care what you do. You can go ahead. You can buy
Okay.
a new Mercedes. I don't care. But during the time that you are going through the loan process, you do not open up any debts. You do not make any new loans whatsoever, because that would jeopardize you losing the loan.
And how do we choose? What makes you better than Joe Smo down the street when I'm being like, oh, I want to buy a house. This is a better loan person than this person. What's the choice? I don't even know the decision factor in that.
Well, I feel you're going to go with who you feel the most comfortable with, or a referral. So I get referrals from other real estate agents. My fiance is a real estate agent.
Okay.
So there are times he sends people my way, and I do the pre-qual, and I tell him, go ahead and shop me if you like. And I do get shopped, and that's okay, because you know what? I would do the same thing. I want to get the best deal. So I want to go and compare two loan estimates to see who is giving me the best deals, whose fees,
okay.
and then I can
That
go
makes
ahead
sense.
and try to beat the other lender's fees.
So it's just doing your homework, like getting
It's
like
doing
getting
it-
an attorney,
it-
getting a plastic surgeon. It's like saying who's going to give you the best.
It's doing your homework.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, because you're not going to just go and say, okay, I'm going to go buy this car today. I mean,
Right.
some people do, but you're going to go and look to see who's going to take off $10,000 off,
Okay.
that price, right? So you're not going to just, I mean, like I said, this is the biggest
But how does
investment.
how does that even happen though? Can you knock more off than somebody else?
Well, that's me going and
Above and-
working
just
out
working a
a
little bit
little bit
harder.
and going
Okay.
to my branch manager and asking, and we work out the numbers. And
Nice.
if it's me taking a little bit less in commission, I don't mind, because if that person's going to leave happy, they're going to refer me to family and friends.
Oh,
And
got it.
so
Nice.
there you go. And then that's building up my reputation as this girl is taking care of me. She cared. She saved me money. And I'm all about trying to save them money.
Can you help us anywhere? So if I want to go get property in Laguna Beach, can I?
I am licensed all through California,
Okay.
so yes, I can.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you, Davita. So what's your information? I
you.
like this. I've learned a lot today. Yeah, I never actually owned a home, so you know.
Well, you know where to go.
Well, yeah, this is really good information. So, but all your information's up there. So you could help my friends down south, because I have a lot of LA viewers that are probably watching this that want help as well. Right? So people can contact you from
Of
out of
course,
city.
yes.
Awesome. Davita,
All right.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
for
much
having
for
me,
coming on my
Sparkle.
show.